What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. If you're a Tom Brady fan, congrats on another Super Bowl, since that just happened. Good job. Happy for Tampa Bay. I was actually a Tampa Bay fan back in my high school days. Mike Allstott, all that. And so that might have been a little past my high school days. I don't remember now. I don't remember what year it was. It was way back when. Whichever. So today we are going to go over a F-150 we just finished up. This truck will be getting sent back to its owner hopefully this week sometime. It was a pretty big build as far as F-150s go, and it turned out very, very nice. But we're going to get a little cold start on this thing, go get a little more E85. We're down about a quarter tank. So everyone knows the rules. One crank, one start. Let's see. Have to give that about a 9.3 on a cold start. Rob got that Palm Beach dyno tune dialed in very, very nice. So I'm gonna go fill this thing up. We'll probably stop somewhere along the way and kind of go over the truck a little bit and let you guys see what all we done to this thing. This thing's a monster, I'm telling you. Okay, so we got this thing all fueled up, fresh tank of E85. So now let's get into the heart of this thing, this build, which is right there. So on this one we went with a Whipple, well the customer picked out a Gen 5 Whipple 3-liter. I always want to mess that up and say Gen 3 and everything else, so that's the only reason for that. So we've got on there, let me see, the engine setup on this is, as I said, the Whipple, which is the heart of it all. We've got a, let's see, it's a 3.5 Grip Tech pulley on there right now. Then as you said, what I said earlier, had to go get some E85, so we've got a Fore triple pump return system. It was one of the first, early on, I don't know if it was the first, but early on, right when Ford released the fuel systems for the F-150, so great results on the Mustang, so didn't expect nothing else, but great results with this as well. You can see down in there we got some Kooks long tubes, which has a set of their green cats, and we've got, so you can see the MBRP side exit in front of the tire. Got to try to go lightning theme we got on here that we've done. We did oil pump gears, crank sprocket, added a B Woody coolant reservoir, STX grill. It's got an EcoBoost lower grill because we've got a VMP dual fan heat exchanger on here, so we've actually got two heat exchangers, so that should help keep all the IATs really well in check. Fuel system 4, we put 1050 ID injectors in it. All the tuning as usual is done by Palm Beach dyno. Rob down there knocked this thing out of the park. As far as the dyno, we'll go over that when I get back to the shop, that way I don't misquote anything, but it done very well. Then as you can see, for the stance of this vehicle, just disregard that little bit of mud there, we drive vehicles. It has a VAS 3.5 drop, which features it's a flip kit in the rear. The front is actually a coilover kit now. It is Viking double adjustables. I forget the spring rate, but the rear has their traction bars. And let me get around here and see if we can Nah, I can't really. Viking double adjustable. So good suspension all the way around on this vehicle. This truck should, once you get some tires on there besides those, this thing should probably ride out pretty well, especially with the power it made. You know, we'll go over, like I said, in a minute. Just wanted to get a nice outside shot of this vehicle and kind of let you see what all was there. So we'll head on back to the shop now, and I'll sit down and we'll go over the dyno numbers for it, which is, like I said, very, very impressive. And see you guys in a minute. Okay, so we made it back to the shop. One thing I forgot to mention when we were doing the vehicle walk around was we actually pulled the transmission out, put upgraded clutches and steels in it, and put a Suncoast bolt together torque converter in it. So now let's get to looking over these dyno graphs. I'll put the graph at the end, but so we started off with a 3.875 pulley on there, you know, which we figured would be our pump gas deal. It wound up making right at about 10 pounds of boost, which is about a pound off from what we normally see out of that pulley. But you know, we've got long tubes and stuff on there, so that probably dropped down what we were seeing, a pound of boost. You know, boost is just a measure of a restriction, so you're going to see boost drop down with free flowing exhaust, you know, stuff like that. That's another video. So with that pulley on pump gas, we saw 637 and 522. Not bad, not bad. You know, we went ahead and decided to go down to our 3.5 pulley, which we had planned on running for E85 only, but with our boost being down a little bit, I thought we could see maybe a little bit more on pump gas. Switched that down, picked up about 2.5 pounds of boost. That got us up into the mid, I think it was close to 12, right a smidge over 12. So picked us up some boost, and that took us up to, let's see here, let me find it on this graph, 694 and 578. So big gains, you know, kind of more what we were looking for. You know, pretty happy with that. So then, you know, talked to Rob about maybe switching down, even pulling down even more for E85, but decided just to keep it simple, 3.5, you know, see what our gains were at the end, you know, because basically now this should make it so it's as simple as a fuel change and you're ready to go. Well, fuel and tube change. But then you're ready to go instead of having to deal with changing a pulley, changing a belt, all that. So it actually worked out pretty good in this situation. So our first pull we took out to about 7,500, and that got us 792 and 617 on E85. You know, so same boost, everything, just a fuel change, picked up massive horsepower. So I mean, we didn't rev out the same, but you know, it's up over 100 horse at 7,000 RPM. So log, everything looked great on there. So Rob's like, you know, rev this thing on up, which anybody that knows me knows you don't have to tell me twice to rev a car up. So we took it on out to 8,000, and that yielded us 812 and 623. So I mean, this thing went from, I forget what the baseline was, but you know, mid 300s. So I mean, massive gains. I think I done the math when we were on the dyno, like 450 rear wheel horsepower difference. Then another thing to keep in mind on this, the 10R80s, you know, the 1-to-1 is 7th gear, which is kind of rough sometimes even on the Mustangs to dyno them. But the trucks, the drive shafts are known to spit right out of these things, so we didn't want none of that stuff happening. So we dynoed this thing in 5th gear, which, you know, we're probably not positive on this, but somewhere between, you know, probably 30 to 50 horsepower difference what we're showing. But as we said a lot, you know, the dyno is a tool in your toolbox. It's not the end all be all of a build. It's nice to quantify gains and stuff like that. You can measure your changes, but the number at the end of the day is just a number. You know, if we could have dynoed this thing in 7th gear all the way up to 8,000 RPM, it might have showed, you know, mid-high 800. Not really sure, but you know, we wanted to keep a drive shaft in this thing. Didn't want nothing flying out, nobody get hurt. So we just stuck with that. So I'll stick the dyno graph here. Then, you know, appreciate you guys if you've made it this far. if you consider hitting that bell notification down there. Hopefully you like the new intro. Gonna try to stay at myself to keep this stuff coming out, but other than that, we will see you guys on the next one, hopefully end of this week, maybe next week. Thank you all. Bye.